Let's see. I'm shaking.
I need some applause, please. On the front, it says Pastor Carson. Come on. Or I think Potential Church. King Kong versus Godzilla. That is incorrect. Titanic. Oh! Let's see. It is, in fact, correct. So if you'd like to be involved in the show, whether that's running a camera or the technical stuff, or if you just want to be in the studio audience, this means technical stuff. Yeah, right here, technical stuff. You guys are producers. You know we're giving away a prize, and we don't have a drum roll?
I mean, we have...
Hey, and welcome to the live stream. I am so glad that you chose to be here today. Today's a special day because we're getting close to the Paris Olympics. We're going to talk. There we go. We're going to talk. And as you can't, in case you can't already tell, for example, Stephanie, we can highlight your chat now.
There you go.
There you go.
New feature unlocked.
New features, yes.
That's right. And the reason we can is because we have some new producers this
Yes.
week.
Yeah, claps, please, claps.
All right.
There you go.
You gotta do something, Stanley.
There
Don't
you
just
go.
sit there. You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right.
Carson, you look a little different, but
Yeah.
we are glad to have you guys because Carson and Nick are, well, they're getting ready for camp.
Yes.
Got a very aggressive guys tonight. But Carson and Nick are getting ready for camp, and we've got high school first, and then we have middle school. You know, I'm going to be there. I'm actually going to teach one weekend. All the kids, by the way, the book is out. In case you haven't got your copy yet,
Yes.
the book is out, and we gave one. Actually, we had someone who purchased a book for every student.
Oh.
So every student got one of these books. If you haven't got yours, I want to encourage you to pick one up. And if you haven't left a review, that really, really makes a difference. We're here. Let me give you a couple of numbers we're shooting for, all right? Maybe you want to help us out, be part of a winning team. We're going for 100 reviews on Amazon. So if you haven't written a review, if you haven't bought the book, buy the book. But if you bought the book, review the book. It would be a huge help to us. And we're going for 50,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed on our YouTube channel, be sure and do that. We live stream every Sunday night at 7 o'clock. We drop a podcast every Thursday. And we're also working on some leadership lessons because our desire is just to partner with you to reach your potential. So we have some fun on the live stream. We're going to talk about the Olympics and how they prepare a little bit later, but that's our goal. Let me tell you what we're giving away, because I don't know whether you guys know this, because I'm not sure that some of our producers actually watch the channel. What do you think, Director Courtney?
I don't know.
She wasn't even paying attention,
Yeah.
so she doesn't.
She wasn't listening.
Giveaway rules.
She doesn't know what I was saying.
I'm so sorry. I was writing the giveaway rules.
I watched the show.
So here is what we are giving. What I was going to say is there's no show on the internet that gives away things like we give away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every week we give away something.
Right,
And
that's a lot.
something that's pretty cool. A lot of times it's T-shirts, depending on where we've traveled. Look, we've got food.
Is that food?
Yes.
If you're not in the
There you
studio
go.
audience, you can come and be in the studio
Yes.
audience. We have live food here.
There's people from Canada watching us.
All right.
Yes.
Welcome.
Oh, marshmallow treats.
Now, if you'll send me a mug from Canada, we'll use it on the show or we'll give it away. All right, whichever you want us to do. But this weekend, we are giving away, because we're going to talk about the Olympics. Here's what we're giving away. Can y'all see that? We're giving away a USA. Now, listen, and this is not just any USA, guys. Look, it's got the little, see that right there? It's got the little pony.
That's authentic.
That is. It's got the little patch on the side. I got my USA shirt on today. I don't know if gray, is that an American color? But anyways, got that one. But we didn't want to just give away polo. We also wanted to give away
Adidas.
Adidas.
Oh, well. That's good.
You know how you say this in Europe?
Adidas.
That's right, Adidas. I played basketball in Europe, and I thought people didn't know how to say it before I realized it was actually a German brand. And then I realized, you know what? The Germans probably know how to say it. It's us Americans that probably do not know how to say it. But I was young. Anyways, we're going to give these away. Here's the way you do it, all right? Because we're going to talk about it, what you got to do is invite somebody to join the chat, okay? And if you get drawn at the end of the show, then you and your friend will get the 2 T-shirts, and you can figure out who gets which one. But this is what the person you invite has to answer. Well, any of these questions. We'll put it this way. Any of these questions, all right? So don't put it in the chat. If you know the answer, don't put it in the chat yet. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Here's the first question, all right? As long as they have one, as long as they say, hey, I'm Troy, Johnny invited me, and here's one of these answers, okay? Who has won the most medals, right? That's one answer in the
Overall?
history of the Olympics.
Okay, the entire history.
The entire history of
All
the
right.
Olympics, from when they did it naked to today.
All right.
All right. How
Okay.
many did they win? You can just give us that answer. How many of the ones they won were gold? And here's the last question. Now, you don't have to answer all these. You just got to answer one of them. What new sport in the Paris Olympics was created in New York City? There's a new sport in the Olympics that was created
I
in
think I
New
got the
York
answer.
City in the 1970s.
In the 1970s.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just see how well the producers understand the Olympics, or our studio audience, or they're in the chat room. What is it? What is the sport that was created in New York, and it's going to be in the Olympics for the first time this year?
Skateboarding?
No.
No.
Disc golf.
What?
Disc golf.
Oh,
Disc
Brian
golf.
Diaz just subscribed.
All right, good to have
well,
you,
this is
Brian.
We got
There you go.
Good to have
There.
you. Hopefully you'll win one of our Adidas, or one of our Polo Olympic shirts.
There you go. All right. It's
So,
enough.
so
Enough.
what sport? Anybody in the chat, all right? Anybody in the chat know what
Ultimate
sport?
Frisbee?
Oh, Dallas
Oh, that-
says ultimate frisbee.
No, no.
Wrong.
That's
Wait,
not right.
so was it
Good
not
guess.
disc golf?
No,
It's
it was
not golf.
disc
It's
golf.
not skateboarding.
It's not skateboarding. It's not disc golf.
Oh, it's okay.
Yes.
Gabi says breakdancing.
Gabi? Gabby
Oh, I'm
says,
sorry. Because, well,
He has a thick accent.
yeah, it's Peruvian accent, so you
no,
have.
that's
please.
fine. That's fine. It's just that I was going to say it the same way you
That's
said
good.
it. That's right.
Please
That's
say- repeat it. Gabi.
Gabi.
Gabi. There you go.
Gabi, right?
Yes.
Anyways, she's right. Breakdancing.
It's breakdancing?
What?
Breakdancing is going to be in the
Oh.
Olympics.
Congratulations.
But I think it's called breaking. It's called breaking.
Oh, breaking.
But it's
Oh.
breakdancing. It was a New York. America has not only won the most gold medals in the history of the Olympics, we're now creating sports that are in the Olympics.
Because we're different.
Whoever would have thought breakdancing would be a sport? But hey, if curling can be a sport in the Winter Olympics, breakdancing can be a sport.
Yes.
And I wonder who discovered or came up with curling. You guys ever watch that?
I have. It's always intrigued me. Like, to sweep, you're just like basically doing this, and then you just gotta let it go. Like, who's like, what are you doing to figure that out?
I figure it's one of those countries that it's winter for a very long time, and somebody got bored, and they had a rock and a broom, and they figured it out. That's what I think it came from. But anyways, if you join, we're going to give this away at the very end of the show. But now, order the book if you haven't. But now, and one of the things when it comes to the book that I know Giuseppe would love to see, and maybe what'd you say? Gabi would like to see as well.
Yes, with the
is for this to be in Spanish.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
one of the things we're doing is we're trying to get the publisher to do that, because you know what happens with a book
There you go.
I'm sorry.
and an audio version. We have a Kindle version, but we don't have an audio version, and we don't have a Spanish version, because I didn't know this, right? Because this is the first book that I've written. I've written devotionals, but first book. And when you sign a contract, you actually no longer own the book. So it's like not my book. I wrote it, but I don't own it.
So you have your rights.
I don't have any rights.
No, nothing.
He took his right.
It's
He
like
signed
living in a
away his
communist
rights.
country. It's like living in North Korea. You know what I'm saying? And so anyways, we're trying to encourage the publisher to do that because, of course, we're located here in South Florida, and then we have a campus in Lima, Peru,
Yes.
and it'd be great to do that. So anyways, you can pray for that. It is time for some tea with PT.
Let's go.
All right, this is where we try to give you a pastor's perspective on some of the things that are happening around the world. And there are a lot of things that are happening around the world that almost seem like a TV show. You know it? So what do we got up first, producers?
Let me see.
All right, so is it on the screen?
Yes.
All right, so we have mass IT outage hits airports, businesses, broadcasters around the world. Major airlines, including American, Delta, United, all issued ground stops Friday morning, citing communication issues.
Yep.
Now, did anybody in the chat get impacted by the shutdown?
Let's see.
Anybody in the house get impacted by it?
They still answering Olympic questions.
Yeah, there's probably maybe a little bit of...
I like this comment. Yeah. There you go.
Giuseppe
Yes.
now.
I love you, Diego. That's
there you go.
Diego.
That's it.
Yes.
I will say, my phone went down. I have AT&T, and you don't realize just how connected you are in society today when you're missing your phone. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go on Chrome.
How old are you, Brandon?
I'm 35.
35. So do you remember any time before cell phones?
No.
Not really. Giuseppe, how old are you?
It's almost 30.
Almost 30. So you don't? Do you remember a time without cell phones?
Yeah.
Well, in Lima.
Well, with not, with the technology that we have right now, it was like just call and message before, right? So
Well, the cell phones that we had didn't have,
no, I'm talking about before cell phones, pre-cell phones.
like when you had to go.
I'm talking about
quarter in
corded
the
phone.
payphone.
Oh, no.
You had a phone at home.
Yes.
And that's the only place you had a phone.
No.
You don't remember that.
I do
Giuseppe,
not.
do you
yeah,
remember
probably South America looks different than here, so we
Right.
get the technology
that? Yes.
way
Takes a lot.
later than you guys.
Now, Stanley, how old are you? Stanley's in the house as well.
31.
Do you remember a time without cell phones?
Yeah.
Do you?
No, you don't.
What are you talking about? Like
Corded
right
phones?
before high school.
Yeah. Yeah, it
But
wasn't that.
Cell phones were around. Well, I'm not gonna say
But
they've always been around.
Well, they haven't always been around. Cell phones.
When
when
did
they,
cell phone get invented?
and when, well, I don't know, but when they first came out,
90s?
you called at 9 o'clock at night or an emergency.
80s?
You didn't call all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and remember
80s?
the
Before?
limitations that cellular phone had before with like the minutes and all
Right,
that.
yes.
So it wasn't as
No.
convenient as it is now.
You had free minutes after 9 o'clock.
I remember that.
And if you called before, you only had like a few minutes. And I had a corded phone. I grew up with a corded phone. I can tell you my phone number from when I was in elementary school. 501, but we didn't have to dial 501 back in the day. We didn't have to do the area code. All we had to do was our little town's number. And our number was 239-8036.
Is it a legitimate phone number if you don't include the area code though?
Yeah, I mean, it worked. That's all we had to dial was 239-8036, and it would ring. And also my grandma lived out in the country, and she had a party line. So she had 3 families all with the same phone. So you'd pick it up, and somebody you didn't even know, would be on the phone talking to somebody else, and you could listen to their whole conversation. But anyways, at one time, I'm sitting on the phone, and it's corded, so you're limited in where you can get around. And I'm talking to this girl that I was hoping to be able to get a date with. And my mom had to run up to the store. And as a result, she says she was cooking hamburgers. And she said, Troy, will you watch the hamburgers? I'm running up to the store. And I'm like talking to this girl, and I'm like, sure, Mom, no problem. And I was paying more attention to the phone conversation I was having than the hamburgers. And so I'm talking, and the room starts to get smoky, but I'm thinking I'm about to get a date. So I don't hang up. I don't go look at the hamburgers. Our house catches on fire.
You sacrificed the house for the date?
My mom was brokenhearted because this was her dream house that she had helped. They had designed it and built it and all that kind of stuff. And we had to go live in a hotel for several months, all because of corded telephones. Because I couldn't get to the kitchen. I had to put the phone down to get to the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Like today, that wouldn't have happened because you can talk on the phone and walk into the kitchen. But back in the day, I was limited to that corded phone. So they were quite dangerous.
Did you at least get the date?
No, I never did. I never did go out on a date with that girl.
Yeah.
It cost my mom and dad a house, and I didn't even get a date. But it all worked out in the end.
Right. We love you, Pastor Steph.
Yes, that's right. That's
There
right.
you go. Shout out.
All right. So anyways, it shut down. You AT&T. How long were you without it?
All day.
All day.
Yeah, I was.
Anybody else? Phone down?
T-Mobile. I had T-Mobile, but I only felt like I was without it for maybe like an hour or so. I don't
Really?
think it went past that for me.
How about in the chat? Do any of you guys shut down?
Yeah, Mason says, my doctor's appointment was canceled.
Really?
Yeah,
Your doctor's appointment.
yeah. By Pastor Matt, too.
What was Pastor Matt? His phone?
Mm-hmm.
He said, this issue delayed my family coming home.
Oh.
Right. So that means their flight got canceled.
Yeah. I saw lots of people. You know what? I didn't even know till after the fact because I have Verizon,
Oh.
What?
and I never lost power.
Is that, can you hear me now?
We're not sponsored by Verizon, but
I'm just saying.
we should be after that. So, anyways. All right. So we move on to the next. I almost forgot what we're doing here. All right. So this is the big news of today.
Yes.
Yep.
Biden drops out of. You know what I like best about is the guy next to Biden. Can they see him on the screen? I don't. How long does it take to lose 25 pounds
with
Wait, wait.
with a chair workout at my age. No, let's
At
not
least
hit.
you get a calculator.
I don't
wanna
want to
click
hit
on it.
that.
No, I
I
don't
don't
want to
want to
click on
hit
it. Yeah.
that. But that's a look. Scroll back down. Look at that. See his that could be me in the future. Look at his tattoos. You know what I'm saying? He's got a sleeve going on there. I could never grow a beard like that though.
Mm-hmm.
This is as much as I can get. I can't grow a beard. My kids can, or Tyler can, but I can. Anyways, something much more important than losing 25 pounds is, let me read the headline. Biden drops out of the 2024 race after disastrous debate inflamed age concerns. And he said that he thinks that Kamala Harris ought to be the next president, who is now the VP. And pretty interesting, pretty amazing when you think about it. I don't know what people's politics are, but one of the things I was interested in is I was doing a little bit of research, not on this, but just on. Actually, I was looking up. You have the conservative network, which would be Fox, and then probably MSNBC is probably the most liberal, I guess you would say, network. So I was looking them up, and I was thinking, I think everybody, it's good that people have their own perspective, but sometimes it just seems hypocritical because our language is so strong, but we don't back it up by necessarily the way in which we live. It's what people sometimes say about, Christians and stuff. It's like, if we really believe in a heaven and a hell, would we live differently than we do? Would we be more evangelistic in the way we share our faith? But I was looking at some of the, what do you call them? The people who, the news, anchors, hosts, those kind of folks. And it was, if you look, it's interesting who they date. Because it's like one of the major ones on Fox News was dating a Democratic senator. And you know what? I don't care who dates who, but just think about the way Democrats talk about Republicans and Republicans talk about Democrats. How could you? That doesn't make sense to me. I think that sometimes, let's go back to that article. It gets really, really crazy. So Biden's going to drop out. I guess we don't know exactly what's going to happen yet. He said he would go for Kamala. And you know what I think would be interesting?
What?
I mean, would be Hillary. Because think about it. I mean, it's like it'd be like a TV show because she's younger. She's younger than Trump, right? But she's younger than Trump, right?
She is.
So think about it. You had Trump coming back to take on Biden again, right? So he lost in 2020. He's coming back in 2024. And then Biden steps back, and we go all the way back to 2016 as a rematch. I mean, you couldn't write a better TV show than that.
That's like WWE.
Exactly. So I don't know who it will be, but it will be interesting. And you know what I think we're going to be difficult for whoever it is on the Democratic side is if they were close to Biden. If he's dropping out because he says he's dealing with dementia, health problems, it's going to be very difficult, I would think, for anybody. I think this is going to be Kamala's biggest challenge if she's the one, is why didn't she mention it earlier? You know what I mean? If you were doing life with him, it's not like when you saw the debate, it hit you. It's like, so I think that'll be the biggest challenge for whoever ends up on the Democrat side. And then, of course, as we talked last week, former President Trump's response to the assassination attempt.
This is
was
interesting.
incredibly strong.
Matt Jacobs said the Clintons endorsed Kamala.
Oh, did they? Oh, ruins my TV show. It ruins my TV show.
No, but that's a good thought because she has been like almost like when she lost that vote, she like disappeared. Like you didn't hear much from her afterwards. Like
Well, and think about it. You have her who said she didn't really lose against Trump who said he didn't really lose. I mean, let's find out who the real winner is. You know what I mean? But she would like, being younger than both those guys, and she wanted to be president at one time. So we'll see what happens. The Democratic convention is what, in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
And so she'll have to have whoever it is will have to have a running mate and the whole thing. So it'll be interesting to see. Politics has become a part of its culture in a way it wasn't in the past. It's something that everybody talks about and deals with. And if you're a Christ follower, it's something that we all want to pray about. Pray that God would be with our present leadership and that God will put into power who we need. So ultimately, the government's role, government is a biblical idea, God's idea. Government's God's idea. And what the scripture says is that government is there to create an environment so we can live out our faith, so we can share our faith and live in peace in order to be able to do that. So pray that the right person gets elected and all the different elections that are coming up. All right, this is, got a couple more we wanted to share here. LeBron James hits a layup, and the U.S., speaking of the U.S., we have a contest going on. And did you guys know we're going to give a T-shirt? We got Adidas. Adidas. And this is, right, Polo made the uniforms for him, right? I think so. We have the official sponsor of the Olympics. And we're going to be giving those away in just a few moments. But LeBron James and, of course, the USA team, some say it's the strongest USA team we've ever had.
Yeah.
But that's hard to believe when we almost got beat by South Sudan.
We're barely winning these games.
No, we beat Serbia by a big number. But we didn't Australia. That was a close game.
And Canada was really close, too.
Of course, all those guys come to the U.S. and play in the NBA, and then in the Olympics, they go back and play for their own country. So I think that makes a bit of a difference. So what's your projection? What medal is the U.S. going to get?
I don't want to go. I'm going to go against the grain. I think we're going to go silver. Ooh. I don't think we're gonna get the gold. It's hard to believe, but I think the team is so stacked. You don't, like, everyone's just kind of passing the ball. Like, there's no real bull, like, person taking the horn.
So who do you think's going to get the gold?
Honestly, I'm thinking Serbia may come back.
After we beat them by like 30?
It's hard to say, but they do have they're
Joker.
The ones out of all the games that I've seen so far, they're the ones who have the talent-wise, that stacks up the best against the U.S.
And they have the best player in the NBA. I mean, the 3-time MVP plays on their team.
Yeah.
So, Giuseppe, have you ever watched a basketball game?
Yeah, but I don't know much, about basketball. More soccer. We're soccer,
we don't talk about soccer.
We're soccer people.
We
Yeah,
don't talk about soccer on this channel.
I know. It's okay.
Stanley, do you have a suggestion?
I don't, actually. I'm going to just go by default and say the U.S.
Yes!
There you go.
Is going to get it.
I think the USA is going to win, and I don't think there's going to be a game closer than 15 points.
15 points?
Yeah. That's what I think. My microphone's kind of messed up here. Let me tighten it up here.
15 points is a lot of points.
I know, but they're going to get it together. I mean, they haven't been playing as much as everybody else. So they're going to. Just a second.
You
here.
okay over
Sorry.
there?
Yes, we're good to go now. So they're going to get it together. I think do we have one more?
We do.
Yes.
Oh, yes, this is the good one. She won the lottery 6 times.
She bought 6 lottery tickets, and she won each one. But guess how much the total? Wait.
Go.
Guess how much she actually won, though.
Just for it. If you think someone other than the U.S. is going to win the gold, let us know in the chat, by the way. All right. Is there anybody else joining Brandon in Serbia or maybe Canada or Australia? They're good as well. Maybe South Sudan. You never know.
Maybe Peru. No?
Maybe.
Absolutely not.
No.
You know
sorry.
what? The chances of
I don't know
Peru.
if we have a team.
I don't
know.
either. But the chances of Peru beating the U.S. in basketball
I
is
don't-
about the same as the U.S. beating Peru in soccer.
By the grace of
It's
God,
not likely to
probably
happen.
yes.
It's not likely to
Well,
happen.
No?
It's not happening.
So how much did she win?
Let's see.
She won $180,000.
So she won 6. Can you imagine? So she must not put very much money in, right? But I mean, still, a one-time.
Right.
I mean, that's not anything to sneeze at. I think because we hear about $40 million and $60 million, So one of the things you guys found, which I thought was really interesting, is how much once taxes are paid.
Right.
So let's go to that site so everybody can see. All right. So if we go to, let's go to, what state was she in?
She was in Virginia.
All right. So let's go to Virginia.
You got to go to the V's.
Yes.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. We're here.
She paid 50 grand in taxes, and so she got $129,000.
It's well, still good. I think.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get six figures, somebody just says, "Here you go." Here's the deal: her phone rang. Family and friends.
Yeah.
Family and friends. You know that happened.
Hey, girl. Long time no see.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to Florida.
All right.
Florida. Okay.
Florida,
That's
no
good.
state taxes.
Nope.
She would have got a little bit more back.
Yes.
So you can't. Yeah, that sounds better, right?
Yes.
Better to live in Florida. Let's see. Let's go to California.
Oh boy.
Let's see.
California.
Right there. Oh, she did. That's
It's the same, I think.
wow.
Yeah.
California doesn't have because
Yeah.
there's a special tax. This is not there. See,
What? Okay. What about like New York or something?
hold on.
Wait.
I know that California has a state tax.
I don't know if it's refreshed.
Refresh it.
It
Oh,
refreshed.
Okay,
Hit the
let's.
refresh
All
button.
right.
Oh,
Okay, the amount is different. Let me.
Oh,
let me
you put $1
change it.
million in
Yes.
there. Woo, she likes that a lot better.
All right, there you go. Let's.
I want-
find California. Yeah,
Huh.
it is
that's
what
the
it is.
same.
Wow. What if so she doesn't have to pay state tax on that? I guess because it's a state lottery.
Probably.
Wow. So let's go to New York.
New York.
That's gonna be 50%.
How do you know?
Oh, 8%.
That's a lot.
That's still $120,000. So think about it. Think about what the states are doing with the lottery and the federal government, right? So they're making all the money from all the losers. So you think about how much money they took in. Then, even from the winner, they're taking over 30%. So
And then when she starts to spend the money
Yeah.
within the state and the government, when she starts to spend the money within the state and the government, they have to take tax off of that. And then when the person who receives the money from that, they have to take
yeah,
tax from that.
exactly. And then when their kids inherit it, there's another tax.
Angel Barber says Minnesota has a state tax. Do we want to try Minnesota?
Okay, yeah, let's see what
Let's see.
Minnesota. Ooh, it's a high one too.
That is high.
Let's do one more thing and then we'll move on. Let's put it as $10 million. There we go. Because if we're gonna do it, what?
Wow.
Wow, can you? That
You
would
gotta
be.
give away- you gotta give back $3 million.
more than $2 million. Yes.
You're still walking away with $6 million, but it hurts to give $3 million
Yes.
away. And then, of course, we're assuming that they're Christ followers.
Yes.
So they got
So you got the
tie.
tithe.
They
Yeah.
got a tithe
got a
off of
tithe.
that.
And Temple Centurion
And
too.
Temple Centurion.
Yes.
Yes.
Pre-tax.
So
Yes.
we need to
Pre-tax.
pray. That's right. That's what I would do.
Oh, but our question that we were asking before the show was, if you did win the $129,000, what would you do with it?
What would you do with it? Well, she won 180. So Steph and I already made a commitment that anything we get unexpected, we're gonna give tithe to the church 25%. So 25% would be what, almost 50 grand. So I'm down to about 130.
Yeah.
And then how much was the tax? The tax was another 50. So now I'm down to 80.
Okay.
Right.
That's still that's a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
You got kids.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
they grown.
Huh? You know that.
He got grandbabies though.
I'm sure Steph would say, because she's the smart one. I'd say, let's go shopping. That's what I would say. To buy for other people, of course.
Right.
Of course.
It's all about being selfless.
But I'm sure Steph would say, we need some retirement. So sure, we do some of that. And then I think it'd be awesome to me, like with camp this year. There's always kids who would like to go, and there's a lot you could do where you could
We
do
could have
something
bought the
really cool.
campsite.
I think at Christmas time too, it's really cool to look. We did one year at Christmas. We did this thing where it was like pay it ahead. Probably the most. and we invited other churches, and they did it. And many of the churches said it's the best Christmas series they've ever done. And it's kind of cool to stand in line at Starbucks and buy the next 10 people, or to go to Walmart and see somebody with 4 kids. You know what I mean? And you can tell they're hoping they have enough cash to pay for the Christmas gifts. You know, I think it's cool to do that, and to try to do it in an anonymous way, so it's not like about you. You know what I mean? It is about them. All right, last thing. Well, not the last thing.
That's the last thing?
Not the last thing, but there's a game that we play. I think our producers know it, but we have to play it because we've never lost, and it's called Wordle. So we need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-letter word from the chat. All right?
5-letter word from the chat. Come on,
5-letter
come on.
word from the chat. Let's see. We got close. Did we get close to losing last week? Didn't we? Yes. I think so. Thing. Pastor Danny said thing.
Thing.
Have you seen that movie, The Thing? Oh, while they're doing that, I watched. It's an old, not an old movie, kind of old. I watched the movie The Batman. Have you seen The Batman?
The Batman.
Because, you know, there's a million Batman movies. It's the newest one. I thought it was really, really good. Because I don't normally like all those movies, because I want my superheroes to be superheroes. You know what I mean? I don't want them to be conflicted about being good and bad. And I don't want to watch Superman fight Batman and them try to kill one another. I don't want Superman. I just want to just be good, you know? And I liked it. All right, thing.
Okay.
Pastor Danny didn't get one right.
There you go.
Not one. Do we have Jesus?
Jesus.
Angel said Jesus.
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 There you go.
Jesus is Lord.
Yeah, likely Bryce the same. All right.
Ooh,
that's
all right.
good.
So the
All
E and the
right.
S, they're just not in the right spot.
Someone said water.
So it's got an E and an S. The E's there. There's no S in water.
No.
We need something with an S.
Speak.
Speak.
S-P, okay. Oh! So close.
Almost there.
S-P-E-E-K.
CK.
Spec.
Ah, spec. Yeah.
There you go.
The winning streak continues. Yes. All right, before we go to Soul Session, I asked the question earlier, what was the sport that was created? And of course, it was breakdancing. And the other 3 questions I asked, who's won the most medals in the history of the Olympics? And did we get anybody with the right answer? Unanswered? No answer?
I don't think they got it.
Nobody got the right answer. It was Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
What country is he from?
Peru.
USA?
Peru.
He's an American.
Oh, yeah.
He's a swimmer.
It's not Peruvian?
And how many of his 28 medals
Wow.
were gold?
Wow.
Can I,
That's right. 23 of the 28 were gold.
23 of that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Can you imagine, though, somebody we know, I mean, in the sense that he's during our lifetime, has won more medals than anybody in history of the Olympics for as long as they've been doing them. That's saying something, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And then I can't wait to see breakdancing. And you know what they're not having at the Olympics anymore?
What?
Baseball, softball, baseball, softball, and I read there's another one that they're not doing at the Olympics in Paris.
Do you know why?
Probably
Well,
because
why
they're
not?
boring.
This is the
Softball,
Oh, man.
I do like women's softball, and I like baseball. It's a very strategic game, but it's you know, it's a long game.
Yeah.
You know, so. Anyways, it is now time for I know the thing you've all been waiting for, because it's our desire to partner with you to reach your potential. So it's time for
Soul Session.
right. Once again, I want to thank my brand new producers that have helping me out. You guys rock. We appreciate you being here. And remember, anytime we do a live stream, if you have a question about anything, if you'll put that in there, and you may have to put it a couple of times if we miss it, but we would love to answer whatever question that you might have. Well, the vast majority of questions we want to answer for sure. And because that's why we're here. We're here to partner. We're here to build community. We're here to become everything that God intended when we were in his heart and his mind, and he created us. And so we were thinking about the Olympics, and I was thinking about winning and losing. I wanted to mention there's 2 books that I've been reading, and one of them I'm going to make sure that all of our staff team reads and then gives to all of our volunteers. It's a little Joel Osteen book. It's called Excellence, and it really, it's just a short, it's one of those little honor kind of books, real short book, but it's all about motivation to live an excellent life in everything that you do. And, knowing Joel in a personal way, I know he lives that out, but I haven't read a book that's this concise that really is our philosophy when it comes to excellence. We talk a lot about excellence here at Potential Church, and he talks about personal excellence. He talks about excellence in your work, in your relationships, in the way you dress. Guess what? He talks about how important it is that no matter where you go and what you're doing, you need to represent yourself well because you're representing God. And he said he was working out. He came home. He came into the house, and he's all sweaty, and he's in these old gym clothes, and his wife was cooking dinner, and she's like, you need to, can you run get some salt or something? I don't know what it was. But so he said, last thing he felt like doing was getting dressed. So he goes, gets in the car, he gets to the store, and he says, just as he's about to go in, he feels God like nudging his heart that he's not living out his values. He's not, really, you're going to go in there and you're going to represent me. And so he said, he turned around, he went home, he took a shower, he changed clothes, he combed his hair, then he went to the store. And so I just thought that was challenging and inspiring. It's not easy to live a life of excellence. So I'm reading that, and then this I have I can't recommend the whole book because I haven't finished it yet. But this is from a tennis coach, and it's called Superior: Creating a Superior Culture of Excellence. And so I'm reading it. Superior Thinking, Superior Results, from Dick Vermeil, who, of course, is Super Bowl champion coach. I've enjoyed it. They're both motivational, and this one has got lots of help in it as well. So I encourage you to pick those up if you're thinking about excellence. And, of course, I'm going to make sure, I want to get all of our ministry folks to read this because I think it's real easy to drift from excellence. And when it comes to Olympics, that's what we're expecting, right? We're expecting all of our Olympic athletes to do what they do with excellence. And Paul, who understood the Olympics and often used athletics as an imagery when it came to the Christian life, here's a scripture that I've quoted and read from and taught from a million times, and I just want us to look at it in the context of these jerseys that we're about to give away. He says, don't you realize that in a race, everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So run to win. All athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize. It's going to fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. So I run with purpose in every step. I'm not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. He says this. He says, so run to win. So here's the first thing I wanted to talk about. 3 things real quick that I think are here that we all deal with when it comes to winning, whether it be in our relationships, in our profession, in our spiritual lives. He says, so run to win. And so my question is this: what do you do when you lose? Because this weekend, I don't know if you guys were aware of it. I don't know if you guys in the chat are aware of it, but the WNBA had their All-Star game. And the WNBA All-Stars played the American women's Olympic team. And you know who won?
The All-Stars.
All the people who didn't make the Olympic team.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the Olympic team is supposed to be made up of the best WNBA players, and yet the All-Star team actually defeated the Olympic team, which is interesting. What do you do when you lose? What do you guys think? What do y'all think in the chat? How do you handle when you lose, when you don't cross the finish line first? or you're not at, you're not standing on the podium to get the gold. What do you do? How do y'all respond? Have you ever lost? Let me ask you that question.
I have.
Let me ask you this: do you handle it well?
And I've grown. I was not always the best loser.
And
I
so,
will say.
and what does that mean?
Meaning that I was a sore loser.
So were you competitive? So you're very competitive?
Extremely competitive. But one of the in the drive, what's basically been a motivator is to get back up, like to not, like once you get knocked back down, or once you get knocked down, not to stay down. Like I've learned to get up, to regroup, to maybe I've missed something, maybe I'm seeing it from the wrong perspective, or maybe I just need to work harder to be better at what it is that I'm running after.
My grandma was incredibly competitive. And when she was in her 80s, we would play a board game. And if she didn't win, she'd get mad. And she would throw the game board. You know what I'm saying? Cards, she would get mad. She was very, very competitive. And, the more competitive you are, and I think we're all competitive in some areas of our life. In some it might be in business, and others it might be in money, and others it might be in athletics and sports. And it seems like there's two responses. Some people get mad and throw the game board, right?
Yeah.
Others think, well, we quit trying because we're kind of like, well, what's it matter anyways? I know nobody watches Andy Griffith, but there's an episode of Andy Griffith where Opie, and you'll have to watch the show to know who these people are, but he's Andy's, who is the sheriff's son, and he's in a race, and he gets killed by a lot. And he blames everybody, and then he gets mad, and then he quits, and he goes through all the emotions that we all often go through. So I think that one of the things that's important is for us, it's what is our perspective of winning and losing, right? In other words, you might lose the race, but are you a loser, right? In other words, I think winners have the perspective that they're on a journey. And on that journey, there's going to be times when you get the gold medal, and there's going to be times when you don't. And when you don't, it's always disappointing. But if our perspective is more long-term, I think a lot of times how we respond to winning and losing has a lot to do with how we see ourselves. And a healthier person deals with it in a more healthy way, right? Because we don't feel as defeated ourselves. Thomas says, as a young man, I did not handle it well. As an adult, the more I have matured, the better I handle it and know how to give it my best. Because that's true. A lot of people get used to losing and then no longer try. Because that's always a temptation too, right? I don't want to feel this pain, so I'm not going to try. So I think it's important. I guess I just want to say, my couch used to throw the glasses on the floor. His coach, I would think, right? And we've all, Bobby Knight, there's some really famous coaches that really got angry. Bobby Knight was one of those coaches, of course, who recently passed away. But so how we deal with, he says, run to win. And I think that's good. And I think that running to win is no matter what happened in the last race, right? Athletes run to win no matter what happened in the race before. When it comes to basketball, and it comes to the Olympic team, the Americans lost. They didn't win the gold one year. And the next year they had what they called the redemption team. In other words, we're not losers, and we're going to get this back. And I think in basketball and in swimming and in some of these sports that Americans have done well in the past, and I'm sure it's the same for every country, right? That there's a sense of, no matter what happened last year, we're going to win this year. In this book, he talks about one of his tennis players and the comeback that he had. And he kept asking him, who's the champion, right? And challenging his player to say, I am that champion. Because you can't win when you see yourself as the loser. And that's really important. Some people don't have good marriages because they can't see themselves having a good marriage. All right, two more things he says real quick. He says, so run to win. You got our perception of losing. But then he says, discipline in training. He says it twice. He says, athletes are disciplined in their training. Then he says, I discipline my body like an athlete. And I put it like this. Discipline is what we do, right? He says, I want to discipline myself to do what it should, not what it wants to do. Because our body always pushes towards the ditch, right? My body, isn't it frustrating? Your body doesn't want to get up early and go work out or spend time with God. Your body doesn't want to eat. Suzanne, the ice hockey. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, Miracle on Ice. You need to watch it. It's kind of like Hoosiers. It's one of those, except for this one's true. How we beat the Russians, and this is in the middle of the Cold War. The Russians were this big, powerful pros, and the Americans were all college players. And really, really cool movie. Disciplined in training, getting our bodies to do what they should do, not just run the race. And that's interesting. He says, run to win. Well, how do you run to win? It's how you run before you run the race that determines whether you can actually run to win. You can run in the race and have no chance of winning if you're not disciplined in your training. And think about that in whatever area of life it is, right? If it's in our marriage, if it's in our attitudes, if it's all these different things that it takes to reach our potential, right? Like we talk about in the book, then we're training for it today. How we respond to the small things. The scripture talks about the foxes, right? It's the little things that can disrupt our success in the future. And so it's like, how do I deal with today's frustrations? How do I deal with today's disappointments? How do I deal with today's discipline and what I'm eating or when I get up or if I read or if I pray, right? Those things are so important because it's that preparation that allows us to run to win. Sometimes we're just fooling ourselves. You know, we tried hard. Well, you always want to give it your best, but trying hard without preparation is not running to win. You know, it's like we always encourage folks who are going to say, I do, get counseling, right? So that you can have a good marriage. Don't just want it. Don't just hope for it. Prepare for it, right? There's things that successful marriages do before they ever say, I do, that helps them to succeed. Same thing is true for children, right? There's certain conversations you want to have with your spouse before you have the children so that you can be the parents that you want to be, so that you can run to win. Doesn't mean you're always going to win. Doesn't mean that every day in your marriage is going to be awesome or all of your children are always going to make the best decisions or you're always going to end up in the financially right place. But preparation allows us to run to win. And that's what the scripture says, right? It's interesting. The scripture doesn't necessarily say that you have to win. It says run to win. Only one person gets the prize. In other words, be motivated by the fact that we need to run to win. And we can't run to win without preparation. And that's important for me to remember. It's important for you to remember. In other words, I can't, as a speaker, as a preacher, as a pastor, teaching God's word, I can't hope to impact somebody's life if I haven't prepared during the week, if I haven't prepared myself spiritually, if I haven't prepared myself physically, if I haven't done the study that I need to do. I can get up and I can be passionate and I can do a lot of things, but if I haven't prepared, I'm not really running to win. How many races have you entered, but it was impossible for you to run to win? You just ran. But there's no way you could win because you didn't prepare. And then he says, and this is the last thing I wanted to share, is just the purpose. He says, I run with purpose in every step. In other words, why are you in the race? Discipline is what you do. Purpose is why you do it. You know, and again, those are questions that sometimes we don't take the time to ask. But why is it that you want to be the CEO? What's the purpose? What's the purpose that you want to start your own business? What's the purpose that you want to be a small group leader, or that you want to write a book, or that you want to do a YouTube channel, or that you want, get married, or you want to have kids? What's the purpose? And it's interesting here, Paul says, and we know this with athletes, they have purpose, and especially today. I mean, today, from the amount of time they sleep to what they eat, I mean, all of these things are to the doctors they go to, right? All of this stuff is regimented because there's purpose behind everything that successful athletes do. There's a reason LeBron James is playing in the Olympics at almost 40 years old, right? It's because when you look at his diet, Tom Brady, it's not by accident. Tom Brady wasn't the most athletic. He wasn't the smartest. He was, right? But he was incredibly prepared. And he was, I don't know what his purpose was, but I know that his purpose, at least his desire to win, gave him purpose in everything that he did, right? It was a priority, right? Above everything, even cost him his relationship. So it's important to know, if you don't know what that purpose is, then again, your priorities can get messed up. Why are you doing what you're doing? You know, you hear people in business all the time say, well, honey, I'm doing this for you. Well, are you really? Is it the best thing for you? In other words, is the best thing for your relationship what you're doing? So how do you think about winning? How disciplined are you in your training? And why? Why do you want to do it? Have you ever really thought about it? Not what you think, not the why you think you ought to have, right? We all know the right answer, especially if you're a Christ follower. Why do you want to lose the weight, right? Why do you want to do these things? It's important to ask yourself and to think about that. Maybe even to talk to somebody that you can trust about purpose. And that'll help you determine priorities along the way. And that, of course, is this week's, I can hear you guys whispering over there, week's Soul Session. All right, and now it is time to give away our official USA. The 24 is 1924. It's 2024. And then, of course, we have the Adidas version of the USA. So we're going to give that away. I do want to remind you, if you haven't subscribe, share, leave a comment if you haven't done that. Check out the book and watch or listen to the podcast. All right, so we have Director Courtney. Do you have our potential winners for today's? All right, you get to draw and announce it.
So today's winner is Juliana, invited by Chris Toro.
All right, Juliana and Chris, you have won the Olympic t-shirts. I am so glad that you guys all participated today. I hope you'll invite somebody next week. Check out the podcast. We love you guys. Have an incredible week. God bless. We'll see you next time.